Hi ladies, this is Cindy and I'm here on my porch at the cabin in Idaho, and I think this will probably be the last video that I make for this summer from Idaho. I'm going to be leaving Wednesday, the day after tomorrow. So gosh, I hate to leave, and it's just, as you can see from my videos, it's just so beautiful here and the weather is so beautiful, but I do have some things that I need to do in Palm Springs, so I am going to be leaving Wednesday. So, oh, my eyes turn. I wanted to get on and do a video about part 4 of my facelift story. After 3 parts, 3 videos, I was kind of a little sick of of my facelift story. So anyway, here I am to talk about part 4. Now, there are some things that I didn't tell you guys that I'm going to tell you in part 4. But go back to the part where I mentioned that a lot of my girlfriends, we all decided to have facelifts when we were 50. And we took care of one another. So, during the time that I took care of some of my friends, they had certain procedures done that I had not had done. I had done what the doctor talked to me about having done. So one of the procedures that many of the ladies had was something called, now remember, this was like 16 years ago, was something called a CO2 laser on their skin, on their facial skin. And it was a heavy duty recovery period. I mean, you really had to do, well, I'm going to tell you what I had to do because I was the one helping to take care of them. So after they healed from their CO2 laser, I was astounded by how beautiful the results of the laser were. Their skin was like a baby's bottom. It was so beautiful. So I kind of filed that in the back of my mind, and I thought, you know what, if and when I ever do anything again, I'm going to have a CO2 laser done. So sure enough, about 5 years later, so a handful of years, I don't know if it was 5, but a handful of years later, I did go back to Dr. Chisholm, my plastic surgeon from Rancho Mirage, California, because I wanted to get an erbium laser. And I'm trying to think what else. Well, anyway, I'm talking about my laser. So now by this time, the CO2 laser was verboten. I mean, they weren't really using that so much anymore. They had upgraded the laser to something called an erbium laser, and it's a URBIUM laser. I had to be sedated. And he gave me my erbium laser. Now, when I awoke from my laser, I was still sitting in my little wheelchair in the recovery room, waiting for my friends to pick me up and take me back to my house. And it felt like, as one of my girlfriends said, the fires from hell. My face was like totally burned. It was burned. They took the laser and burned off the top layer of my skin. That's the only way I can say it. Now remember, I knew what this was going to be like because I had treated and helped take care of some of my friends that had this laser done. So I got home, and the erbium laser is what I want to talk to you guys about today. I got home, and the recovery was that I had to be on some medication to keep a fungus from growing on my skin. So I was on some kind of heavy pill, which I don't do well with heavy medication in my system anyway. Just makes me feel lousy, makes me constipated, and so that made me not feel well. But you have to get, every 20 minutes, you put those frozen peas on your face, and you put them in those little snack Ziploc bags. And so for 20 minutes, we had frozen peas on my face. Then we took the peas off, and we had to have like a bucket. I think we used a big Tupperware tub of distilled water and like a teaspoon of vinegar. Hold on. In the distilled water. Then you had to have those little Steri-Strip pads that are like that come in squares. So put your rubber gloves on. Now I was not able to do this to myself the first day or two, and you get the swatch, the little square swatch that's sterile. You know, you have to open the package, pull the cotton swatch out, dip it in the distilled / vinegar water, and then you wipe off your face, and you have Vaseline all over your face. So you start wiping off the Vaseline with these sterilized little square patches of cotton. I forget what they're called. And then you dip it back in the distilled water and the vinegar, and you wipe off the Vaseline. Well, while you're wiping off the Vaseline, your skin is also coming off. It takes a day or so before your skin actually comes off, but in other words, you have to keep your skin very sterile and very clean. So after my sister or friend took off all my Vaseline, then they put on more, they took off all my Vaseline, made sure there was nothing growing on my skin, no little fungus on my skin. If there was, they would wipe that off. And then my face was clean. Then they would reapply Vaseline. I think my husband's home. And they would reapply the Vaseline. More peas on, 20 minutes of the frozen peas. Felt so good because my face had been torched, had been on fire. And so after 20 minutes, take the peas off, get the cotton into the distilled water, wipe off your face, wipe off the Vaseline, wipe off any grunge that you could see growing, like little brown spots. And then we did this for like, I'm going to say a good 2 days, maybe 3. But towards the 3rd day, and maybe even after the 2nd day, your skin, my skin was like snake skin. It was like turning brown because the top layer of my skin had been burned off. So now it was time to peel. So we'd take that cotton swab and we'd wipe, and my skin would start coming off. My skin would come off. My skin would come off. And hold on, Dane. Oh well. And so after so many days, we stopped doing the Vaseline, the distilled / vinegar water. From there, we graduated to like a court aid / Vaseline, but not quite as heavy duty. And then I could wash my face, and then I could apply some of that ointment on my skin. My skin just drank it up. Oh, I just wanted that ointment on my skin like crazy. But what I have to tell you is, after like the 3rd, 4th, 5th day, for pretty much the first week, my skin totally came off, and my skin was absolutely beautiful underneath all that dead skin. My skin was dewy, pink, poreless, absolutely beautiful, which I knew that because that's why I had it done, because that's the way my lady friend's skin had also looked. So even though it was a horrendous recovery, I mean, I couldn't go outside. I didn't want to go outside because when that air hit my face, it just hurt. But then eventually I could wear a big hat, and I could go outside and take a little walk or something, and that felt really good. But it was my facial skin was really new and tender and very, very I had to be very careful with washing it or daubing it or anything. I could put makeup on after about 10 days, I think, and I did. And that's when they told me to start using Bare Minerals. They didn't necessarily say Bare Mineral brand, but they said since I had this erbium laser that my skin did not need a heavy full coverage type makeup, and to go with something light and gentle, and they recommended the mineral type makeup, which I did use for a couple of years. Well, anyway, a year after I had this erbium laser, I had another one. Same thing, only this time, not as much of my skin peeled off. But I asked my doctor, I said, can I do another one? And he said, yes, you could do one of these every year. Well, I did the 2 of them, and then I have since had a different kind of a laser, but it was not an erbium, and there was no downtime or anything like that. But it was like a collagen building, and they didn't put me under like they did with the erbium laser, but they did give me like a Valium to help me relax, and then gave me the hose of cold air that as they were zapping, I held the hose with cold air coming out as they went around my face. And that was like a nothing burger. But anyway, I did want to say that I have had 2 of those harsh erbium lasers, and it was a very huge recovery for me and for everybody that has them. So anyway, and after my erbium laser, the only thing I've had done is Botox. And once in a while, I think I've had some fillers, like in here. I think I've had it twice. Fillers in here and here. And fillers in my lips. Now, I have since learned that they don't want to do any more fillers on me because they said that the filler just comes to the bottom of your face eventually. And that, that's not good. It's not a good look. So I'm not going to get any more fillers. But I did talk to my friend who's the nurse, and I said, I do want something in my lips because my lips are like turning under. And so that's when she suggested that I have them tattooed. She said, if you get them tattooed, it will plump them up. It will make them look bigger. And so I said, good idea. So that's why I've had my lips done twice. But I get to get my second procedure on my eyebrows and my lips in September when I return from vacation. Because when I went to get my microblading and my lips done, it covers 2 sessions. So I only had 1 session, and when I return, I'll have my second session. So, okay, ladies, that's all I wanted to say. This is part 4. Part 4 covered 2 years of erbium laser that I had, and that made a huge difference in my skin, made my face skin really gave me a new canvas, and I'm very glad that I did it, even though it was a hard recovery. So with that, if you have any questions, please add them in your comment. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Ring that bell so that you'll know when I have a video uploaded. And in the meantime, until our next conversation. Bye-bye.